This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogstein Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 5, Episode 9, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington on YouTube. I'm Rick Snyder.
And I'm Matt.
And we're back discussing all things Washington sports and life as part of the mighty Hogstein Network on audio and Rick Snyder's Washington on YouTube and other social media platforms. So, hey, follow me along on Twitter if you want the daily videos and daily reports of whatever's going on at Rick Snyder's Washington on Twitter. All right, so on the eve, the Washington football team is going to be playing the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday night at 6
o'clock.
I don't think I've ever seen a 6 o'clock start.
Nope.
Not that I can. Oh, what TV does this? But it was weird. But the Ravens have won 19 straight. They tied Green Bay's record. I looked it up, 1959 to 62. The first team in that, the Packers won 19 straight. The first win was against the Washington Redskins in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the team that beat them finally was the college all-star game, which I forgot all about. It's been so long.
Wow.
20-17. Then they went on and won a few more preseason games against the pros. But, you know, I know everybody says, oh, who cares about preseason? But as Lombardi said, winning isn't a sometime thing. It's an only thing. There's nothing wrong with winning games. And I bet the Ravens are going for this, you know, because if you're a guy getting ready to be cut, you know, or whatever, you can always say you were part of a team that broke a Lombardi record.
Yeah.
So what the hell? Go for it. What do you think the crowd's going to be? I mean, it was about 20,000 for the Bengals game, is my guess. But I figure all the Ravens fans are coming down, especially if they have a chance to break a record.
Yeah.
And it's a Saturday night, so it's not beach traffic time.
Right.
Like last week, which was just stupid.
Yeah.
The NFL these things now.
And I'll be honest with you. I love preseason games. I think they're fun because you're not as I'm not as, I don't know, intense into the game. It's preseason. It's more of a fun time. And honestly, they actually have stuff at FedEx that's pretty cool during the preseason. So I don't know. It'll be hard to say. I mean, last week, 20,000 for the Bengals. I mean, it's the Bengals. Let's be honest. The Ravens, they're right up 95. It's a cheap ticket. You got a chance to break a record. You know, it's a final dress rehearsal for a lot of guys. I could see about 30.
I was thinking more like 40. I think it could be a 50-50 crowd.
Yeah. I mean, it probably will. We know those Ravens fans travel.
And yeah, it's only 45 minutes between each stadium, you know.
Right.
But they have, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see. There wasn't much of a crowd. There was a few Bengals fans last week. That's okay. I actually have digital parking now. You have to scan it off your phone. I thought, this ain't going to work. But yeah, it worked like a breeze.
Really?
And
that's good.
No money in the stadium. Everything you buy now has to be credit card or whatever you do, waiving. It's
or
all
Apple
digital.
Pay or.
You can't pay cash for anything now.
Yeah, so it's all Apple Pay or credit card or Android Pay or whatever.
So when those 14 bills come due on your credit card, man, before you out of cash, now you're going to go, holy crap, look how much I spent on beer.
That's not good. The wife can't see how much beer I drank at the stadium. Come on now. What are y'all doing to me?
Yeah, $183. But that would be
and that was only the first round.
You got a jersey. It's sitting in the closet. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I mean, it's not hard. You're buying beers with your buddies to go through some money.
So what is this game going to look like, though? Or is it going to be more of the third preseason game in the past? Is it going to be more of the fourth preseason game in the past? Obviously, there's guys on this roster that are fighting for positions. I mean, you know, you have a list here of some guys that are pretty intriguing to me with Sadiq Charles, Ricky Seals-Jones, Montez, McTire, which we talked about earlier this week. Defensive end or tackle, Mr. Wise. I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, this is a problem that I'm not used to having, Rick. We're going to be cutting guys that will make teams and will make an impact for other teams. I have a feeling. I mean, there's a lot of quality players, and to the Marty's and Ron's credit, man, this is a good problem to have that we have not had in a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they were this deep in the roster for everything. Well, Rivera won't say yet, but I got the feeling he might play his starters up to a half,
Okay.
depending on how it goes, and then you give the second half over. I mean, Steven Montez might make the team as a practice squad if they want to stash a fourth guy over there, because you have a 13-player practice squad this year. They kept the expanded rosters because of the COVID threats.
Right.
So I can see you keeping him. They really like him. It's not like there's a guy that's going to be here for 10 years at quarterback.
Yeah.
So let him. I've watched him some. He's improving, but I wouldn't bet everything on him. Sadiq better play well. Sadiq Charles better play well, or he may not be here.
Yeah.
Jones, I don't think he makes it. Torrey McTyer 2 weeks ago, I would have said no. Today, I will say yes. And I saw Daniel Wise make a play in the last game, but I don't really see it happening there.
Now that defensive line is going to be a hard one to crack. But, Rick, I read something the other day on Twitter that I'll be honest with you, I was kind of shocked by it. Obviously they haven't scored. The first team offense has not scored touchdowns, and, we're still resulting in field goals, and, they've looked kind of iffy. And we talked about in the previous show, the defensive line didn't look as dominant as it should. One stat that stood out in front of me was in 2 preseason games, they have had 1 turnover and 5 penalties. This team is not only deep, this team is finally disciplined. And as we know in the preseason, this is also the preseason for the refs. So they're not afraid to fly the flags. You know what I mean? We saw the kid in Indy carry the whole pile, stand up and flex, and they gave him a taunting penalty, which is something they're focusing on this year. But that didn't deserve a flag. But like they said, the refs, this is their preseason as well. They're rounding into regular season shape. But 1 turnover, 5 penalties. That to me is very impressive.
Morgan Moses isn't here anymore, so there's a penalty.
Hey, there's 16 less false starts.
I mean, yeah, I mean, good for 1 a game, easy. I hadn't noticed it so much, but you're right about that. The turnovers have been lower. I would have thought the defense would grab more balls. I mean, in practice they do. Their defense is kind of ramping up again. They're dangerous to Fitzpatrick's health. Some days you have to explain the rules to them. Don't hit the guy in the vest.
You don't hit the guy with the yellow shirt on.
Some of these guys are like, I want to do it. No, you have to say, calm down. Can't hit our guy. But it's interesting to practice some days what they do. But overall, this team is ramping up. I think it's weird because you'll do this and then they have next week off because the NFL doesn't want to play on Labor Day weekend. Just doesn't want to. So actually, for the first time, I think ever, or at least in memory, they're not playing a week and then they play, and that's kind of a rhythm thing too of, you wouldn't normally ramp up your last game, but, the last year's, the 4th preseason game was just a toss out.
Yeah.
So I guess through it, let everybody regroup. They do the cuts on the 31st, rework your rosters, get everybody ready to go. You've got to play 17 on there. They don't get a day off until early November, I think it is. So they play 8 games and then they get a bye and then they play 9 games. So they actually got it in the middle of the season, which is nice.
Yeah, they got a pretty decent draw.
I mean, I haven't heard the practice schedule yet for any of that week. I would think if they'd make it a lighter week, when normally you're cranking up.
Yeah, so I could see that probably just being walkthroughs or light workouts. I mean, I don't know. And that's another thing too, knock on wood. We have not seen injuries with this team. I mean, you're hearing just today, I heard AJ McCarron pulled his MCL. I mean, luckily this team has not had the rash of injuries that we've had in the past. And maybe it's a credit to the new strength and conditioning coaches that they've brought in, or I don't know what it is. It's just, there's something different about this team. And I don't know, like I said, I was very iffy when they hired Hurney, just because, I know your connection to him, obviously, but the things that you hear from Carolina fans and they're basically begging us to take him and all this stuff. But between Marty Hurney, Martin Mayhew, and Ron Rivera, and even Jason Wright on the business side of things, this team just feels different. It feels like there's something, I don't know. It feels like something has been lifted off of this team finally, or the black cloud has finally parted.
Yeah. I mean, is it back to the 80s where people were
No, and I'm not claiming it's going to be it's not going to be Gibbs. It's not going to be the glory years, but there's definitely there's a little bit of sunshine coming out of Ashburn. That's all I'm saying.
You got Ashburn syndrome, as they call it. Well, what I was going to say is, back in the 80s, I could look around that locker room and see, ooh, look at there. And you couldn't do that for years here. You might point to one guy or something. And now you point to a bunch of guys, and a bunch of guys wonder where they're going to be. Interesting. Now, I was looking at the sack record. The best year that Charles Mann and Manley had together was 1986. They had 28 and a half sacks. Now, they each won 2 Super Bowl rings, but separate. They only had that 1 year together. 87 was the year they won them together, because then Dexter was gone and all that. Could these 2 defensive ends break 28 and a half, which was the 12th best in the modern era? I think it's a chance. I mean, the record's 39. Oh, it's really 40, but that's one of those old stat things. I don't know. These guys want to do it. There's an extra game. I could see him pulling it off.
With the extra game, there will be a lot of records broken, I'm sure. I don't know. See, here's the problem that we're going to run into. Now, as I just said, we do have a lot of depth and we have a lot of players in other positions, but who is the focal point of this team? Obviously, it's Chase Young. Chase Young is the marketable player on this team. He's going to be the guy that they promo on Monday Night Football, and he'll be the guy, in the commercials and stuff like that eventually. That he's going to draw double teams from offensive lines. It's just, that's the way it's going to be. He's going to get chipped by running backs. That'll slow him down. Trust me, the kid's fast. I mean, we saw what he did to Cam Newton, and Cam Newton is a monument back there. He's a huge man, and he left that tackle in his dust and went and got Cam. But I see a lot of double teams. Could they do 28 together? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so we got like a minute left, and of course I have to plug something because most people have already gone, according to analytics. But shorter shows, they leave earlier. But I do have tour guiding dates. I decided to add one more, so I have 2 for Lincoln Assassination and 2 for Embassy Row. The crowds have been good this year. I guess people are desperate to get outside and fresh air. So if you want to come on with me, monumentalthoughts.com has my tour dates up. And it's been a good crowd. So I had them. Maybe we'll do one in November. We'll see how the weather is.
And October 2022, Rick's Ghost Tours are coming to DC.
Yeah, it'll be scary. Well, we got a few seconds to kill. I read a story today in New York Daily News. You can go online and see it. A hot dog will take 35 minutes off your life.
I don't know how I'm not dead already.
That's what it said. It's really a ghost tour by some people like Joey Chestnuts. This is really a Civil War guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ghosting people.
That's funny.
A good story. It tells you other things that take minutes off or give you minutes too, your life. So I just laughed. I was like, the Redskins or the Varsity football team, they serve hot dogs at halftime. So this team's trying to suck the life out of me already. What the hell?
I was going to say, look, Cook's been trying to kill you for years.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm Matt.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent on the Hogstye Network.